friends, and welcome to another episode of your Bish Therapist podcast. Today's episode is going to be a bite-sized Bish because my episode this week with Amy Phillips, the Darling Bish Hour, was about maternal instinct, which was a very difficult to watch and listen about docuseries. And so I needed to get another episode out this week to talk about, well, I was going to say to talk about lighter things, but Bravo has been super dark lately, especially with the Valley. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Valley, and I'm going to give some thoughts on Next Gen New York City. And then there's a couple announcements. Number one, I have a ton of podcasts lined up in the next 6 or 8 weeks. I'm having Recap Rodeo back on the show. I'm having our friend Besties by Caitlin back on the show. I have a whole bunch of things scheduled, but I am going to be going on vacation end of August, early September. And so your girl will be taking a break. Don't fret though. It will only be a 3-week break, but it will need to be a break nonetheless. So what I am going to do is from here until mid-August, I will be doing 2 episodes a week. I will be taking a 3-week break, and then I will be coming back stronger and better than ever. Brady and I have talked about doing more episodes. Well, not with Brady, but he helps me so that I can do more episodes, of course. I am talking to Brady about getting merch. We're starting the brainstorming phases of getting merch taken care of, and great things are happening at Your Bish Therapist podcast. So thank you all for being here. On Instagram yesterday, I had the most insane day. Number one, Lindsay Hubbard, Mother Hubbard, came into my comments when I had posted about in the city, and I found that really interesting. She posted prayer hand emojis, which I took to mean she appreciated what I said. Andrea from In the City also followed me. And then Liz McGraw from RHORI started following me as well. And I was like, I'm scared. I'm actually scared. I'm a little nervous, but there's a reason why Liz followed me. And let me get into that now. So on this podcast, I try not to, talk a lot about politics. It's just so divisive, and there's just like so much going on. But people know where I stand, and I am an ally in every way, shape, and form. And so yesterday, I found out some very sad information about Joellen and Rula from Real Housewives of Rhode Island. If you are interested in seeing what I'm about to talk about, it is on my page on Instagram at Your Bish Therapist. But essentially what happened is that I found out yesterday, and by the way, this is all confirmed, that Joellen and Rula were liking transphobic, homophobic posts from 2023. And it's hard to explain, but one was a meme making fun of like a trans person. One that Rula liked, it said like, I only support, like Mother's Day is for moms, not for men in a dress. She liked that. And Joellen just liked a ton of really gross, bigoted information. And normally this isn't my purview, but I know for a fact it is real, it is authentic, it is not AI. Someone I know and trust went and looked through all the posts, which are public, by the way, and that's what it is. And so I'm going to be honest, I feel crestfallen. I feel really angry because while, we're not watching Housewives necessarily to be our moral compass, I would like to think that the people that Bravo is platforming aren't hateful bigots, and people are upset about it. I'm upset about it. Liz, I believe, by the way, that is why Liz followed me, because I think that Liz, while she has some of her own stuff, she is not someone who espouses those values. And I think that, she liked my chutzpah and the fact that I posted these things and I called them out. No one has said anything yet. Joellen hasn't come forward. Rula hasn't come forward. People had tagged Andy. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think that Andy cares. Even though Andy is a gay man, I think that Andy has really good compartmentalization in terms of like a lot of housewives hold really problematic values. And again, this is nothing to do with political parties. I'm strictly saying if you believe that people don't deserve to have basic human rights because of their sexual orientation, their gender identity, or the color of their skin, that's a real problem for me. And you can't support the LGBTQIA plus community and then actively vote against their interests. So that's what I'm going to say on the topic. I'm glad Rhode Island is over because I need some time to process this and to understand how to move forward. But that's a later problem for me and not a today problem. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, so let's go back to what Lindsay Hubbard, like that I said. So when I watched In the City, what is so interesting to me is that, well, first of all, Amanda and Kyle, literally, we are now watching them display the same behavior with manipulation and triangulation and getting everyone to fight their battles for them now across 2 franchises. So they have gotten a cast of 2 different shows to fight battles on their behalf, while Kyle and Amanda both separately walk away and don't have to deal with anything. And I just think that Amanda and Kyle, they both have a lot of work to do. And I hope that they do it, because if they don't, they're just going to find themselves in worse situations than they're already in. And I feel like Amanda is kind of already there. But what is so wild to me is that, like, Amanda and Kyle claim that they understand how frustrating it is that they keep ruining events, and then they went ahead and ruined another event, which tells you that it's not the words. Let's look at their actions, not the words. Amanda's like, I feel bad. We keep ruining things, and then they keep ruining things. So what does that tell us? That tells us that she doesn't really feel bad, and she's doing what she needs to do for herself, no matter how it impacts other people. I think why Lindsay Hubbard liked and commented on my post is that a couple of things. I feel that there was like drama with the rooms, and like Whitney said Lindsay plays a single mom card and things like that. And what I said is that I guarantee that that comment triggered Lindsay because she might have a nanny, but she doesn't have support from her mother. And it's like, money can't buy emotional support. Emotional support is literally priceless, number one. And number two, Yvonne said that she thinks that Lindsay, since she had a baby, believes that Lindsay's stuff is more important than hers. But I think that Lindsay has untreated mother wounds, and becoming a mother to a daughter did change Lindsay forever. And so I think that like Lindsay has this harsh exterior because children who are abandoned typically have to rely on themselves. And the ways sometimes that people learn to protect themselves is with like a sharp tongue. Now, not everyone who has a mother wound or has a parent wound has a sharp tongue, but I think that this is what underlies Lindsay's presentation. And so the thing I posted is that Lindsay had beef, and I'll just say the account because everybody knows this. She had beef with Queens of Bravo because Queens of Bravo, they post really negatively about Lindsay. And so she posted about feeling like this account was cyberbullying her and things like that. And so what I wrote is that Lindsay posted about content creators speaking negatively about her to the point of cyberbullying. I believe this is a case of 2 things can be true. Lindsay feels chronically misunderstood, and some content creators can be consistently mean. It's important to remember that the people we watch and speak about are human, and even though, due to my background, I'm able to hold empathy, understanding, and knowledge about what lies beneath behaviors, but it doesn't take a therapist to understand that being a human being means being flawed. Some of these shows have been intense, and Bravo is supposed to be fun. And that's what Lindsay appreciated. And so I think the difference is, so what I'm talking about happened with Joellen and Rula. That's not flawed human behavior. That's bigotry and hate. And that's promoting and supporting bigotry and hate. This is different. Lindsay, I believe, sometimes can be harsh and sometimes can act out, but she has a heart of gold and she really cares about people. She's not trying to hurt other people. And so that's the difference. It's like, these people that we watch are flawed and they're human, but that's not an excuse for bigotry. So anyway, that was the wild thing about that. Now, let me talk a little bit about Next Gen New York City. So I just really continue to have a hard time with Charlie. But what I do want to say is that on M&M Hour, I had said some things about Charlie. I thought I had remembered his legal case and I didn't. And I said some things that were patently false. And so I edited them out and I apologized because I misspoke and that wasn't appropriate. So I'm not going to talk about Charlie's case because apparently I have not had the correct information about it. But I just feel like Charlie, he gives me like Khan vibes. He's like, in the movies when someone looks at money and they have like money in their eyes and their eyeballs pop out. I think that's how Charlie like views humans. And when he was like cozying up to Ariana and Ariana was like, oh, Charlie, do you have a heart? And it's like, no, Charlie's just trying to make his life easier to get Hudson on his side, because if Ariana's on his side, then he has no problems, right? And unfortunately, what is really sad is that Ariana and Hudson are back together. It was confirmed on Watch What Happens Live by Georgia, who was on last night. And it's upsetting for me for a couple of reasons, because I think that Ariana was really primed by Kim and Croy to feel a sense of responsibility for other people. So Ariana was paying her mom's bills. She was doing things for her mom, even though she didn't agree with what her mom was doing. Like, Kim would buy a $300 bottle of wine and then ask her for money and all these other things. So Ariana said on the after show that Kim does now take care of herself, which is like, yeah, okay, about time. But I think that her relationship with Kim primes her to just be a caretaker for people for the rest of her life. She broke up with Hudson because Hudson wasn't doing what he needed to do. He wasn't supporting her. To be honest, I feel like they have this dynamic where Ariana parents Hudson more than she partners him. And Hudson's behaviors around Ariana have been gross and red flags to me in terms of like, he is not accepting the breakup. I mean, they're back together now, but I wonder like, why? Did he really change? Did she really want to get back with him? What's going on? Ariana was trying to set boundaries with Hudson, but Hudson claimed he was setting a boundary with Liam about like, don't go after my girl. And let me be clear, that's not a boundary. That's a ridiculous expectation. Hudson is acting like he has ownership over Ariana, which is why I'm concerned that they're back together, because she needs a partner, not someone else who she has to take care of for the rest of her life. So I'm very interested to see how that plays out, but I don't like Hudson's sense of ownership or entitlement over her. He won't stop trying to be physical with her. He won't accept no, things like that. And I just don't like it, y'all. I do not like it. Also, I'm going to be honest that Charlie said some things about Brooks that to me reads homophobic. I'm going to be honest. So he said that Brooks is fake and he can't have a man-to-man conversation with Brooks. Charlie sniped, he's going to giggle and moan and infect everyone else. And then when they had a boys' night, he said, I'm now stuck with the boys plus Brooks. Ew. That's what Charlie said. And then he tells Christian Brooks needs to keep Charlie's name out of his mouth. And then Charlie said he's an aging gay man. He's not going to be a party gal forever. That's what Charlie said, verbatim. So the blatant homophobia and hate, I just can't. You're getting a very raw, unfiltered Bish today because I just can't. I don't know why Charlie's here. I think there's some really scary pieces to him and things like that. And I just don't have a good feeling about it. I just don't have a good feeling. But otherwise, to me, and this is why it's so upsetting, because Next Gen New York City is like a great show. It's a great cast. I don't know, it's great in a lot of other ways. But Charlie, for me, just like straight up ruins it. And speaking of people who ruin things, on The Valley, we watched very serious discussions about sexual assault, so I will offer a trigger warning. And I want to say that when Janet shared her story about sexual assault, she confirmed what I've been saying, which is that she was projecting her emotions onto Danny. She was projecting her experiences onto Jasmine and Melissa, which is understandable given the situation that she's been in. And so, Janet, I just want to say that I believe survivors, and I find anyone questioning, judging, or picking Janet apart is just not appropriate. And so I think every time survivors share our pain, it makes the world a better place. And I just want to thank Janet for her vulnerability, because what we're still arguing about is that Janet is the scapegoat. She is the person that they are taking everything out on because she dared to talk about what Danny did. And that continues to be the focus instead of what Danny did. Women are happy to say, who cares? That was so long ago. No one cares. Well, that's upholding the patriarchy. We don't accept that here. And I think Nia, this episode, we understood how Nia goes from being a victim to being a part of the problem by trying to paint everybody else as toxic. At the end of the episode, like anyone who talks against Danny and Nia, all of a sudden they're toxic. And it's like, well, that's not how this goes. Like, That's not how that works. One of the things that Danny said this episode, he said to Nia, don't talk to me like this right now. Do not talk to me in a way that is going to heighten me. And I want to say whoever taught that man that that's an acceptable thing to say, they should be fired. Like, it is not acceptable to blame everybody else for our emotional states. It is not acceptable to say, well, I'm behaving badly because you're accusing me of this or you're saying that. Like, Danny's behaviors are on him. He is the only one making these situations worse. He won't let it go. He won't stop talking about it. And the biggest thing he won't do is stop drinking, which for me is a huge red flag. Michelle says, perhaps you should stop drinking. And he said, well, I did, while he's drinking a tequila soda. So my point is that we saw Nia. Everyone thinks Nia is so nice, but in reality, she's towing Danny's company line. She's like in the moment trying to fawn so that he doesn't freak out. But then afterwards in her confessionals, she's blaming everybody else and it's everybody else's fault but Danny. And it's like, well, if you're going to stay married to this man, that's how you would have to think. You would have to abandon all observational skills and logic to bend over backwards to try to justify this man's behaviors. And that, unfortunately, is what Nia's doing. I loved watching Lala eat Danny for a snack. And I think that there is so much more to be said about what has been going on here. And I will podcast about all of it. This week, I am podcasting with Mary Payne from Pink Shade. We're going to talk a little bit about the Valley. We're going to talk a little bit about Real Housewives of Orange County. Probably, well, she doesn't watch Next Gen, so I'll do some more episodes on that. But I just feel like the Valley is just getting so dark and problematic. And I asked people on Instagram, I'm like, do you still want me to cover this? And they were like, yes. And I was like, why? Why? So I am, because it's a lot of information, but it's really, really bad. And so if you're watching The Valley and you feel icky about it, I encourage you to either not watch or just know that your feelings are valid. I will be posting my interpretations later today for The Valley. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So for today, thank you for listening to this Bite-Sized Bish. Please don't forget to check me out at Your Bish Therapist on Instagram. Please rate, view, subscribe, engage in whatever way you can. On my Instagram, on YouTube, please rate and subscribe to my podcast, all those great things. And I can't wait to talk more about this with you all. So for today, sending love to you and yours, and ta-ta for now. Disclaimer. Posts are not intended to diagnose, treat, or provide medical advice. Your Bish Therapist is for entertainment and informational purposes only. The podcast, my opinions, and posts are my own and not associated with past or present employers, any organizations, Bravo TV, Greyheart Productions, or any other television network. The information in YBT podcast and on its social media is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose or treat. Please do not act or refrain from acting based on anything you read, see, or hear on YBT podcast or associated social media. Communicating with YBT via email and or social media does not form a therapeutic alliance. Melissa, operator of YBT, is unable to provide any therapeutic advice, treatment, or feedback.